This
13th,
conference will now be recorded.
on May 13th, and these are the folks that were nominated based on the attendance.
Okay.
No action, just an update.
So moving on, Manny, item 4, act on recommendations of the nominating committee.
Yes, ma'am. For this item, the nominating committee met on May 9th. And so the items, you'll see the attachments. The nominating committee met on that date via GoToMeeting. No quorum was required. And as you know, that's a combination of the whole general membership and the board of directors. And so they are, LRGVDC general membership is nominating the following individuals. And you can see on the attachment, Ms. Ann Cast, Mr. David Panoli, Mayor Pro Tem Rene Estrada, and Mr. Jim Darling. And so one item to point out that there is a vacancy because on the general membership is 5 members at large, as well as the board of directors they are able to select 5. So for this particular item, we are missing a 5th person, and that person can be nominated here today. I think that was the discussion on the 9th that we had to wait until today. And again, we try to keep it as even as possible to include the three counties. And so that's something to keep in mind as well.
Sorry? Okay. And so I think, Mayor Garza, did you have someone that you wanted to nominate, if I recall?
So I did. I think Commissioner David Gatsa's on the line, I believe. And I'm not sure, Manny, at the time, we did bring up someone to nominate, but I believe Commissioner Gatsa brought up that it needed to be somebody from Cameron County. If that's correct, I think he had somebody to nominate.
Okay.
I just wanted to confirm that based on our
That's right.
discussion.
That's right.
Yes.
Commissioner Garza?
No, I did not have anyone in mind. I just said that we normally kept it balanced that way, okay? But I do not have a nominee that I would like to put forth right now.
And what about on Willacy County? Is there anyone from Willacy that you would like to nominate?
Is anyone from Willacy on the line with us?
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, sir. Mr. Garcia is not going to.
Need some mic.
How's that? Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, so Mr. Garcia, who is on the board, is not going to serve another term. So Judge Guerra recommended Tony Chavez, who is a former Lifer City Commissioner, but he's also the city manager for the city of Rainbow, as was Mr. Garcia from Willacy County. And so I would like to nominate him for this vacancy with the board's indulgence and approval.
And you've spoken with him?
Yes. He is at TDEM right now in Fort Worth, so he couldn't join Commissioner Garcia and I today.
So is that a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I would second that, Mayor.
Okay, second from Commissioner Gatsa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for that. What's that? I know. We'll share. We can all be nice, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't put all the mics and we'll get some feedback real bad. So,
Okay.
okay, the next item, Mayor.
Yes. So moving on to the election of officers for the 2024-2025 term.
Yes, ma'am. On this item, again, the nominating committee met on May 9th. And so the nominating committee recommends the following slate of officers for the 2024-2025 term. And that would be the president, Mayor Norma Sepulveda. As you know, we had a unique situation. I'll try to explain to the best of my ability, but we had a situation where, the previous president was Mayor Suarez. Unfortunately, he did not get reelected. And so Mayor Sepulveda had to step up to the plate and take on the president position. And so traditionally, if we have those situations happen, they complete that term, and then Again, they have to complete their full term, which would be this coming year. And so that's why you see that on there. The first vice president is Mayor Nori Garza, Gonzalez Garza. Second vice president is Judge Aurelio Guerra. Secretary, Mayor John Cowan. And then treasurer, Mayor Ramiro Garza.
And this is an action item.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, and now we just have item 5, new or unfinished business. Is there any new or unfinished business? Okay, having none, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
And we can move on to the regular Board of Directors meeting. So the people online don't log off yet.
Yes, please. Just some housekeeping. Now moving on to item 2, moving back to the consideration and action to approve the meeting minutes from April 24, 2024. Any amendments? If not, is there a motion to approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, we have public comment. Do we have anyone signed up? All right. Okay, moving on to item 4, administration. Manny?
Yes, ma'am. Under administration, letter A, consideration and action on recommendation from the nominating committee. And so that's coming up on your screen.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that's for item 1 and 2.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we've got item B.
Item B is consideration and action to approve the LRGVDC's participation in the Texas Passenger Rail Advisory Committee and sign the committee's charter. I have Mr. Javier Dominguez will do a quick summary on what this item is about.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. At the beginning of April, Travis County Judge Andy Brown had reached out across the state, inviting stakeholders to join his Travis County Passenger Rail Advisory Committee to kind of kickstart or restart the initiative of the Lone Star Rail District and in an effort to connect Austin to San Antonio. In that meeting, essentially everyone from the state to the feds told him that if he's only interested in doing something like that, he's essentially not going to get any funding from the state or the feds. And so they tasked him with creating a statewide passenger rail advisory committee. And part of that committee, we all provided feedback on charters, bylaws, possibly having like a seminar in San Antonio sometime soon, bringing all these stakeholders from across the state for this initiative. So for this action item, we're seeking your approval to sign the charter and be a founding member of this statewide passenger rail advisory committee so that we can attend monthly meetings and be able to provide that feedback. And really cool fact is that in August, he's already agreed to come down and host one of those meetings here in the Ken Jones boardroom. So we're looking at the first week of August. And so right now, his current mission is to get as many elected officials, state legislators, county judges to all sign letters of support. And although we can't individually sign them here, we can possibly get an LRGVDC letter of support signed, and then as staff, we can go around the region and try to collect as many of letters of support at your city or county commissioners court meetings as well. And so that is what that action item is for, and I'm ready for any questions if you have any at this time.
Is this the one that raised, there was some issues raised, right, Ramiro? With, but this is not moving forward with whatever rules. This is just us getting together to learn about it and, right?
Yes, and so if I may just real quick, something I forgot to bring up is that TxDOT Rail Division is going to be reapplying for the corridor identification program. The first wave or funding cycle for that program, we did get them to include us in their letter of intent or their public comment for the requisition of information or comments for that application. Unfortunately, they did not include us in the application itself. They were not funded for the route between Dallas to Austin, but they were funded for Dallas to Houston, Houston to San Antonio. So TxDOT Rail Division is going to be a part of this committee. And so one of the reasons why I feel like it's very imperative for us to be a part as well is because, you know, we have to advocate for ourselves. They've already included us in the letter of intent. Hopefully the second time around, we can convince them to include us in the application when they move forward. That application is expected to open up January of 2025. And so that's another reason why we want to be there to advocate for ourselves and to extend that sort of route. And that first phase is just for planning.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry, you had a question,
Discussion real
sorry.
quick. Yeah, I'm sorry. So is this the one that was created to that legislation? Or is that a different one?
No, I think it's different. It's the regional, the RMAC. Is that the
Okay.
one you're referring
I
to?
think, yeah, I think Mayor is the other.
The other one has
Regional-
the charge, but that's why I'm saying, but it's not the same
No.
project itself?
No, sir.
The rail is not part of that?
Well, it is, but it's this one is statewide, and this is just for us to be there to get firsthand knowledge. As you know, we're not quite ready for rail, but this will give us some feedback or information that we can bring to our region to try to implement later in the future.
Yeah,
Now,
the point for my question, and I want to make sure I'm clear here because
Mhm.
I don't want Mayor Hernandez to come back and not, the point I was making is there's no financial impact because at the end of the day, whether we do rail or not, they're still gonna have to find a way to pay for it.
correct.
This is about us saying we want to be in the game, right, if possible, and not setting up a way to pay for it and all that stuff, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, and my only last point was going to be that we wanted participation from all the land ports of entry
Yep.
so that they have that.
And we'll have a report on that meeting that took place on the 22nd here in a few minutes.
That'll be it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Part of the conversation. Yeah.
One of the very interesting things is that both Amtrak and the Federal Railroad Administration have completed various studies, and they never connect. That we're never on their maps nationwide, and so we have to advocate for ourselves. And this is a marathon, not a race. And so we're talking in terms of decades here. But yeah, so someone has to start
Well,
speaking
We're
up.
always 20 years behind.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on
Okay.
to item 4C.
Yes, Javier, stay up there. But before you introduce the next item, just wanted to introduce Executive Director's Report, introduction of new staff. As always, look forward to see the new faces that joined the LRGVDC. And so I'd like to report that as of last week, we were at 181 employees. So our goal is to get to 200. It's never done, has been done in the past. I think the max that we've hired was about 160, of that. But so that's just shows you that we're growing, obviously seeking more funding as well. And so to continue our efforts to improve this region, make it stand out above the rest. So without further ado, I will introduce the new staff that we brought on board. Eileen Rodriguez, she's our customer service representative. Whenever you call the main LRGVDC number, she's the one that answers the phone, greets you, transfer you to wherever you need to be. Albert Ramirez, inventory specialist with our administration, business and operations. April Ayala, she's our program specialist for public safety, homeland security, criminal justice. Jessica Reina, administrative assistant 3, Valley Metro. Enrique Sierra Jr., shop foreman for Valley Metro. Cesar Flores, vehicle driver number 2, Valley Metro. Miguel Romero, vehicle driver number 2 for Valley Metro. And then we do have Mr. Jesse Ayala, our custodian, that was promoted from a 2 to a 3. Well deserved. He is a one-man show that goes all over this campus and make sure that it's as spick and span, clean, trash out, everything. So highly want to congratulate him. And that's it for that. The next item, I'll turn it over to Mr. Dominguez so he can provide an update on the RMAC meeting that took place.
Yes. So as some of you may remember, at the end in our February Board of Directors meeting, we provided an update about a presentation, I should say, on House Bill 71 that was signed by the governor in 2019 after the 86th legislative session. The feedback that we received from our Board of Directors, that being you all, is that we create a committee to research the funding mechanisms. And so we went ahead and we did that. We recently had that this past week, and we had a great turnout. About 30 or so people attended. We've had about 14, 15 individuals who have signed up. We provided feedback. We did have a guest speaker from the Laredo Transit Authority, so El Metro as well, Mr. R.J. Garza, who has experience here in the Valley as well. So it went very well. We received, a lot of great feedback. Essentially, we will be, as a committee, trying to go for funding to complete a feasibility study that would look at those types of funding mechanisms, as well as the economic impact analysis, I should say, I'm sorry. And so we're open to feedback and to suggestions. We want to, extend an invitation to any and all elected officials to be a part of that committee or send a representative who can vote or provide feedback on your behalf, especially the counties and like the mayor of Edinburgh said, the bridge and the port operating entities as well, just because House Bill 71 does lay out some funding mechanisms for that. And so we had a great turnout, positive feedback. We had a good number of people who have signed up. And so hopefully soon we will schedule a second meeting where we can start coming up and try to bylaws and sort of redefine those goals so that we can come up and provide those updates here to the larger board of directors. But we had a great presentation and we kind of did a more in-depth on House Bill 71 and some of the things that we can hopefully see with economic impact analysis and that feasibility study.
Awesome. Is there any questions, discussion? Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Moving on to item 5, the department reports. Item 5A, Community and Economic Development, Melissa Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've got about 6 agenda items, so you're going to see me for a little bit. The first one is consideration and action to approve the RGV Economic Development Advisory Committee bylaws. We actually had our first EDAC meeting back on April 30th. We had a Zoom follow-up on the 23rd to ensure that all the changes from the members were done to the bylaws. So those bylaws were approved by all the members on the 23rd, and so I'm asking for board approval today. And there was a copy of the bylaws in your agenda packet. So.
Is there a motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the next item I have is to approve the actual membership. Along with your packet, you saw a listing of the members that were identified by the categories right there. So currently we have a vacancy for a medium-sized city, one for Willacy County, 3 EDOs. We have 1 for the Institute of Higher Learning, 2 workforce developments, and of course 1 member at large. So we will be actively seeking membership. If you have a member you want to recommend for any of these positions, please let us know. And Willacy County, Commissioner Ernie and Commissioner Gonzalez, we need the judge to either assign somebody from his court, if somebody does EDC, or maybe the Raymondville Economic Development Corporation individual. So, okay.
I had a question.
Absolutely.
Real quick. This is great. I'm all for this. I was just kind of wondering how it's going to work with other organizations that are in place.
They
like,
are welcome to join us in
okay.
our meetings, Mayor. The meetings will be all open and
Yeah.
input, especially because we'll be doing the update of the SEDS.
Right.
So with the SEDS updates, I'd love to get more input, but the membership is made up of EDCs for members of our LRGVDC board.
Got it.
So I do know that one COSTEP was here for our initial, but they're not a paying member of our board. So that's why they're not eligible for an EDO position. Okay,
And what about the Rogan Valley Partnership? I know they have like
they are actually our member at large.
Okay.
So Daniel was here, so they do have a position currently at our on the board. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So if there's any other questions, I entertain a motion for approval.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, and the next one, the final one on the EDAC, is to approve the chair and the vice chair. The members chose Mr. Ron Garza for UTRGV to be our chair, and then our vice chair will be Mr. Ramiro Aleman with Cameron County Economic Development. So I ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, my next item, I do have in your packet, I need consideration and action to approve the Texas Community Development Block Grant priorities. We did meet with our small cities, our non-entitlement cities, and they all agreed that they wanted to keep the priorities the same they were last year. So the first priority will be water and sewer, septic systems and yard lines, and street and drainage. Second priorities will be house rehabilitation, fire protection, community centers, parks, neighborhood centers. And then the third priority will be all other projects. The people that were on our meeting as well They also identified the maximum amount of points. So if you have any other questions, I'll answer. If not, I entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Go.
Second by Mayor Guerra. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion-
Thank you. All right, just two more agenda items for me. The next one, a consideration and action to approve Rider 7 PM 2.5 Local Air Quality Planning Grant between us, the LRGDVC, and TCEQ. We were one of the 4 councils of governments that the TCEQ reached out to us and said, hey, we've got some air quality money. Do you want it? And Mr. Cruz said, yes, we want it. So I'm asking for approval for this contract.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And my
What
final
was the
one,
total, Melissa? What
It
was
was,
the total on that?
Grant, Commissioner Garza, it's 179,055. We only get 10% for admin, which is going to be 17,905. And then we're going to be
Right.
contracting out $161,000 worth of work for air quality.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and then the final, my final agenda item is consideration and action to approve an interlocal agreement of contracting services between Cameron County and the LRGDVC and Hidalgo County and the LRGDVC. In your packet, you received a copy of the signed contract from Cameron County, but Hidalgo County approved theirs yesterday. It was agenda item 24D2 that was approved by Hidalgo County. So I'm asking approval for both these contracts. They're exactly the same contract, except one says Cameron and one says Hidalgo. So,
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say
Second.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on. Health and Human Services, Ms. Lopez.
Good afternoon, board members. Again, thank you for your time. I do not have any action items. We allowed Melissa to take all of those today. I do have just some short announcements. We have entered a new project. We're focusing the projects that our interns have to conduct on our winter Texans. So far, we have made contact with 226 parks across our 3 counties, Willacy, Cameron, and Hidalgo. We have verified that they all have working phone numbers, contact numbers, and on the next round of interns, we're going to start conducting assessments as to where they are going to get their needs met. That way we can have some sort of data on the impact of those winter Texans here in the Valley. So that's an update on what's going on in our department. We're also looking to allocate some funds for another fan drive. We were very successful when we gave out the heaters in Harlingen, and we're trying to do the same thing, but with fans. The summer promises to be pretty hot, so we're trying to help with that. Our interns were usually the 4 rounds of interns that we've been successful at have been undergrad. We have successfully completed all the process to be able to have a field instructor, which will be me, and a task supervisor for the Graduate School of Social Work for UTRGV. And so we already began we have our first graduate school intern. Other than that, we are currently reviewing 3 applications for our advisory citizen council. I know that was something that was questioned. What were we doing to continue to have members? So we are still getting more applications, and we'll present those as an action item next month. That concludes my updates, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you for all your hard work. Moving on.
Thank you.
Mhm. Item C, Public Safety.
Criminal Justice, Homeland Security, Mr. Cesar Merla, Assistant Director.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Board of Directors, and LRGVDC staff. No action items on the docket today. I had 6 last month, so I'm glad there's no more. The biggest, just a very big highlight, and it's the Ready RGV conference. Thank you for attending, Mayor Sepulveda. That was very gracious of you to attend, and the words you spoke that day. And to all those departments behind me as well, over 180 attendees for this inaugural conference, a 2-day conference at the island. From anywhere from legal professionals to emergency managers, your fire departments, police departments, your legal services, your mental health services. They're all in attendance, and we've received some very good feedback. Additionally, I do want to highlight, we got some very good feedback from other COGs in the state. And the main one to notice was North Central Texas Council of Governments out of Dallas. So they liked what we did. They saw that we performed at a very high caliber, and they kind of want to copy, I guess, our initiative. So I would say that the LRGDC as a whole is a trendsetter for the rest of the state on a conference like this. It's very different from TDM. It's very different from the All Hazards Conference. So it's focusing on bringing the region together as a whole. So that was the only biggest thing. And again, a big shout out to the directors behind me, especially those two back there, and Mr. Dennis and Tom Logan. I know you all behind me, and whoever else I may have missed behind me. Just thank you, and Mr. Cruz and Mayor again, thank you very much. So I have nothing else.
Thank you.
Pending questions.
It was an incredible event. I was really impressed. Lots of folks attended. I think having it at the island is a good attraction.
Oh, it's staying there
Yes.
for sure.
And it was at the Margaritaville.
Margaritaville.
Is that- And I had not been there yet, so it's really nice. And I was really impressed, especially there was the gentleman with the concussion.
Yeah, the
So-
Concussion Assessment Center,
Yeah.
David Vasquez. Yes.
Yeah, so lots of new information, cutting edge stuff. So it was really amazing. Kudos to you and your team for putting it on. It was really, really, really wonderful.
Definitely a team effort, but yes, thank you. Thank
My
you.
only recommendation is for Dallas to have it here in this region.
Yes.
Maybe another state conference here.
Maybe another state conference, yeah.
And don't wear ties, right?
And no ties. That's right. No ties.
Not gonna say who got his tie cut off, but all right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, moving on.
The next item is the Police Academy program updates or action items. Mr. Javier Solis.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and esteemed Executive Board. I have 5 action items for you. I'm going to try to be brief. Numbers 1 through 4 were all a result of our advisory committee, which met on March 20th, 2024. The first one that we're seeking consideration and action is to accept the appointment of all current LRGV Academy Advisory Committee members with an appointment date of March 2024. The LRGV Academy Advisory Committee met on March 20th, 24. Our Executive Director, Mr. Manuel Cruz, reappointed all current members of the Advisory Committee as recommended by the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. We want to recognize the effective date of reappointment as March 20th, 2024. The members will serve their terms of reappointment as set forth by the LRGV Academy Committee bylaws.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Number 2, consideration and action to accept Raymondville Chief of Police Ubaldo Zamora as Vice Chair for the LRGV Academy Advisory Committee. We did have a vacancy for this position. When we met, the Advisory Committee nominated and selected him to serve in that vacant seat of Vice Chair.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Consideration and action on number 3 to amend and update sections in the LRGV Academy BPOC Rules, Policies, and Procedures Handbook. We are required by the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement to continuously review and update the policy manual for all of our cadets. 4 items came out of that revision, and we would seek approval to make 4 changes. The first one being to make numerical corrections to some of the subsections. These were just simply human error when it was previously updated. So there are some numerical errors in there that we want to correct to some of the subsections. The second change, we do not currently have a policy for smoking in the academy. So we wish to implement a no smoking, no vaping policy. I've included a copy of the policy in the summary. The third change would be to remove 2 awards that are issued throughout the academy. That would be the Wheels Award and the Marksmanship Award. And the last change would include a retest policy update to include the midterm exam to be added to the same individual chapter exams of the individual chapter exams for the Basic Peace Officer Academy.
Is there any Any
Any
discussion?
questions on the changes?
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Consideration and action on number 4 to amend the requirements for documentation and retention of all LRGV Academy Police in-service training files. Currently, the LRGV Academy asks and requires a lot of non-essential items for the in-service training that is provided throughout our academies and through our contracted academies. Right now, what we're wanting to ask for is just to ask for the mandatory requirements which the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement has listed. That includes a course lesson plan, course lesson objectives, instructor biography and biosketch, the original class signed rosters, the testing instrument and key, a score sheet or skills test, and course evaluations. And this is done, we're asking this to save not only physical space, but we're also trying to save electronic space because we are required to maintain these materials for a period of 5 years.
Is there a motion to approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Our last item is consideration and action to approve an interlocal agreement as authorized by the Interlocal Cooperation Act, Chapter 791 of the Texas Government Code, with the City of Alton, Texas, by and through the Alton Police Department for the purposes of reporting law enforcement training to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, and with the authority for LRGVDC Executive Director Manuel Cruz to sign and finalize the agreement. We are entering into a partnership with the Alton Police Department. Again, this is all in an effort to provide as much law enforcement training for all agencies throughout our region. And by entering into this agreement, that just extends the amount of services we're able to provide to all law enforcement agencies.
And it's also an action item. Is there a motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The last thing I want to announce is just that on August 3rd, we are going to be hosting the police canine competition, the Rio Grande Valley South Texas Police Canine Competition. It's going to be taking place in the city of Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Parks and Recreation Center. We extend a welcome to all of you. I know that some of you were there last year at the Bird Ogden Arena. We hope to see you again this year. And I'll be visiting the different cities to make a personal invitation. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, moving on to
Emergency
Emergency.
communication. Yes.
Communication District. Dennis Moreno.
Good afternoon, board. Thank you. No action items here. We're just going to have updates. I'm going to first bring up our GIS division. We're currently looking at created points, updated address, updated roads, and updated created roads. That's just a reflection of what our community has been growing. If I can point you out to the red area where it says updated address point, starting in 2024, we had over about 4,334 new addresses. This encompasses new roads that we have to create, and this is all something that we update in our emergency map for our first responders. So this is something that we work closely with the cities, with our engineers, and the developers to make sure we have the appropriate information updated to our services. So that's a big kudos to what our team is doing. In addition, our 911 IT team are currently conducting a Power 911 Maplex training. This is the user interface that we utilize for our dispatchers. That's coming up next week. We already have several PDs signed up for that. This is a periodic quarterly training that we put for our dispatchers. So for the new dispatchers, current dispatchers, or even seasoned, we go through the tools, allow them to make and break everything they can and use every tool we can have, because it's just going to be a non-live environment. And with our IT team, I do want to point out last month of the month of April, the month of April, we had about 36,000 emergency calls that were made within Hidalgo and Willacy. 0 calls were lost, 100% success rate. So I'm proud to say that. And that's a great support of what our IT team deals with every day. Also going into our community engagement report, we kind of go into our cities that we support with our autism awareness walk. IT exposed with South Texas all hazards. But I do want to point out to our last page of the report regarding our 2024 Texas Public Safety Conference. That conference was dealt in the city of Denton, Texas this past year, and previous years it was in Galveston. This year we ended up putting our hat in the ring for the city, for the valley. We put for the city of McAllen, but we wanted to bring this conference down to the valley. Doing that, all cities in the state of Texas kind of submitted their recommendation, and we were the top two with Amarillo. So what that dealt with is we brought some representatives down from NENA and APCO conference, and we toured them around the valley. I'm happy to say for the next 2025 and 2026 conference, NENA will be hosted here in McAllen. So that's going to be a great win for us. Those are both spring and winter conferences. Since it's in our backyard, I do recommend that you all attend, have a day of attendance. This gives you an overview of what public safety entails. So not only the first responders as our officers, but our dispatchers are the first responders. So these are something that's in our back of the woods, in our backyard, and this allows everybody to attend and gives us more attendance here. So our Cameron County partners, Stark County, they all could attend, and the travel is less for everybody. So that's a big win. And if you guys have any questions, I'm available to answer them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And transportation, item D.
Good afternoon, Mayor, honorable members of the board. We only have one action item, consideration and action to approve software subscription renewals for LRGVDC Valley Metro to include software and hardware.
Is there a motion to approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Quick update on our report. Year to date, we have transported 619,000 passengers. That's an increase of 145,000 passengers from previous year. I want to say the UTRGV and students as a whole are over 60% of our ridership. So we're very proud of that. We're transporting those future leaders.
Awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Do we have any for the MPO?
Yes, we have an action item for the MPO, RGV MPO. Ms. Eva.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Luis Diaz, our interim executive director. But this is a program that I oversee, and so I'll be giving the presentation today. Before you, we're requesting approval to proceed with the procurement of some loggers from 3G to 4G, some batteries, and a subscription service for our eco counters. And so if you're unfamiliar, I'm just going to go ahead and skip through that. The RGV MPO adopted an active transportation plan in December of 2020. There are some key principles and supporting goals, but there's 5 areas of success that were identified. We have several initiatives implemented since the adoption of the plan in 2020, and the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee gives us feedback every year on which initiatives we should proceed with, and the counter program is one of them under I think it's policy, planning and policy. I'm going to forget the title. But essentially, we kicked this initiative off in 2020. There was agreement coordination. There was Texas Transportation Institute provided some training. We installed some counters in Brownsville, Elsa, Harlingen, Pharr, Los Fresnos, McAllen, Mission, Primera, San Benito. And we even did some temporary counter deployment. And all of this is really to collect data throughout the region to see how much our trails are in use. It also helps us identify areas where people want to travel to and how we fill gaps in our transportation network. So you can see here in your packet, essentially our service is already communicating that our batteries are depleted. And so some of these have stopped transmitting data. And so that's why we're coming to you today, so that we can continue to maintain this program and collect that data for planning purposes. Any questions?
Do you provide those to the cities? I think I've asked you this before.
Yeah, we do updates quarterly to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and then all partner agencies have access. You can kind of see these users lists. They should have access to to generate reports at any time, or they can ask us to generate reports for them. So we're happy to do that. And Javier Mendez is very involved in
Yes.
this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Next, new or unfinished business, item 7. Everybody that's here in person and online, the city of Harlingen is having their State of the City tomorrow. So I hope everybody got tickets. It's sold out. So I hope you got your tickets already and hope to see everybody there. Is there any other?
I just wanted to welcome the new members that are going to be part of the board. I think we have your contact information. If we don't, just give us a call. But we usually require your email and a phone number, either office or personal. For me, personal, so I can get a hold of you really quickly, if you don't mind. So if you're here, stay here. We'll get your information. For those online, give us a call. And again, welcome to the board of directors.
And a big thank you to Mayor Garza. We know you have a lot on your plate, so we appreciate you stepping up. All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you. Quick meeting.